Now, Snow White, she was named by her parents because she had incredibly pale porcelain skin. That's not good enough for the star of a new Disney movie, the remake of what they're calling Snow Woke. Her name's Rachel Zegler. She's a Colombian-American actress. She's 23 years old. And she says this isn't the case, that in fact Snow White was named because she survived a snowstorm when she was a baby, and her parents called her Snow White because of her resilience. Quite why Snow White adds up to resilience is another matter. But a memo to Rachel: you can't just change the story. It was written by the Brothers Grimm back in 1812, if you want to know. You can't change it because you don't like it. Let's talk to the co-host of the Triggernometry podcast, Francis Foster. Welcome, Francis.
Lovely to be here, Kev. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Did you get the gist of what I just said? This actress, Rachel Zegler, she says, no. You know, never mind the Brothers Grimm. I know they wrote the original fairy tale in 1812, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. We'll come to them in a minute. But she says, no, it wasn't the colour of her skin. It was the fact that when she was a baby, there was a big snowstorm and she survived it. So her parents named her Snow White as a tribute to her resilience. I mean, that's incoherent for a start. But she can't just pitch up and say, no, I don't like that. I'm going to change the story. Who does she think she is?
Well, I mean, to be fair to Rachel, she's got to justify her own casting, hasn't she? She can't then come out and go, no, they've miscast me. So she's got to come out with some story. The thing that I find very interesting is that there'll be people making the argument going, well, look, this is a fictional character. And all right, it is. But, for instance, if we made Othello white, I think and people would be up in arms about it, and quite rightly so, because the character Othello hinges on the fact that he is a Moor, which is what is described in the play, i.e. someone of North African heritage. Therefore, if you get someone who looks like you or me, Kev, the play wouldn't really work. Mm-hmm. And Snow White describes the colour of her skin. Now, actually, Rachel Zegler is a very talented actress. I've seen her in quite a few other things. She's brilliant. But it comes to a point where you need to cast actors that are appropriate for the role.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's not for her to change the story. It was written by the Brothers Grimm. You can't say, I don't like that, I think I'll change it. She says that actually there's a story of Snow White in history which tells of these parents who said, oh, she survived a snowstorm. Let's call her Snow White as a tribute to her resilience. That's incoherent. Snow White has got nothing to do with resilience, but so she's changed the story. But this film, by the way, the original famous cartoon, the animation film, came out in 1937. The new sort of human, semi-human version will come out next March. But for a long time it was dogged by criticism insofar as there were no dwarves in it. It was Snow White and the Seven Magical Creatures. And we saw these weird pictures of Rachel Zegler sort of hopping down a hill in her Snow White outfit with these sort of seven blokes behind her. So
it's a different vibe, Kev.
Well, it's a different vibe, but then Disney was so stung by the criticism, they've now put the dwarves back in, but they're CGI dwarves. Why do you think, Francis, that the Disney Corporation feel the need? They're not so much as retelling the Snow White story, are they? They're mutilating it. Why do they feel the need to do this?
I think what everybody in Hollywood is terrified of being accused of being racist, sexist, whatever, ableist, homophobic, whatever label that you want to throw. They also have to meet certain diversity quotas. So everybody is tying themselves up in knots to make their films as diverse and as progressive as possible. And at the same time, look, it's really difficult getting a gig. I bet if I was an actor with dwarfism and I saw this movie come up, I'd be rubbing my hands. I'd be like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a great part. if I can get this is going to be money in the bank. It's going to, improve my profile. And then what have they done? They've now taken it away from the actors with dwarfism. There you go. 7 jobs completely got rid of.
Yeah, a lot of dwarves get very upset come Christmas because the Ride On Brigade say, oh, we mustn't stereotype dwarves, little people as they like to be called now.
I think that's worse, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I do too. So the little people, the dwarves say, yeah, but this is our income. This is our job. Why don't you let us do it? But the Disney Corporation also said that the original, as I say, they've been shamed into putting the dwarves back. But originally they said they didn't want to stereotype or characterize or make caricatures out of people. Well, the story is called Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. If you want to make it, somebody who's not Snow White, who was actually born in a snowstorm, and they're going to traipse around with 7 blokes, call it something else. Don't call it Snow White. I mean, why are they doing this?
I mean, they're doing this because they feel that we live in this bright new age where everything needs to be updated, everything needs to be modern, and we all need to look at art through the lens of 2024. It's why we're getting books and we are changing them. We saw this with Roald Dahl. They were changing the language with the books. Sensitivity readers were being appointed to, ascertain and decide what is and what isn't acceptable. And look, the problem is if you remove the unpleasant things from art, ultimately you remove the interesting things from art, because those are the things that actually hook us in. Those are the things that actually make us want to watch the movies, read the stories. If you remember the stories of fairy tales, all these fairy tales, they're all pretty awful. They're all pretty horrible. What, are you going to remove that as well? You're going to remove you're going to remove an evil sister, the stepsisters from Cinderella. They're no longer ugly. What are they going to be? They've just got a mole and that's it. Come on.
They'll definitely do that. Rachel Zegler also is not keen on the love aspect. She doesn't want her Snow White to be sitting.
Can you blame her? She's in Hollywood. She's surrounded by perverts. I'm not with them.
She's not going to be sitting around dreaming about true love. And Rachel also said that the behaviour of the prince was like the behaviour of a stalker. So she sort of likened the Prince Charming to the stalker. So, I mean, I just don't understand. You want to make a movie about a woman with 7 bloke mates, fine. But don't call it Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs. I mean, don't remake a classic fairy tale if you're going to completely throw the story away.
And look, ultimately, it will be Disney who pays the price, because if they'd actually done a remake and they made it well, which Disney have the capacity to do, they've made brilliant films down the years, and they actually decided, hang on a second, we're going to remain faithful to the original story, and we're going to reproduce it, and it's going to be at the very best of that we can do. I guarantee you, if they released it over Christmas, they'd have a massive hit on their hands. People would love it. Families would come out. Everyone would watch it. But if you're going to remake something and take away the elements of it that everybody loved, everybody fell in love with, it was a part of every single person's childhood, well, OK, but your box office is going to be significantly reduced as a result.
Yeah, I mean, and as you say, Rachel Zegler is a great actress. I mean, once they cast her as Snow White, you could see it's classic Disney, going all woke, so we'd take a Colombian American actress who's not white and give her the role of Snow White. So after that, Francis, I think it was downhill all the way. Listen, I've got to go now, but that was great fun. Come on again soon, yeah? That was Francis Foster, co-host of the Triggernometry podcast. I recommend it highly. Have a listen to it. It's very funny.